So can we talk about this man, Colin Sexton, out of the University of Alabama, dropping 42 on that three-headed monster's freaking forehead last night, bro, in Cleveland. In Cleveland. Kyrie's
Yeah.
returned since 2017. They get upset in double OT to the Cleveland Cavaliers. Give me something, man, because I'm about to go off.
I mean, to quote the famous Wobe on Twitter, and I think that's his name. They saw $148 million burn up in smoke last night in reference to the Nets having Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and James Harden out on the floor. Now, look, this is going to be a experiment with the Nets as far as I'm concerned, because the Nets have no defense whatsoever. Any defense that they had went away in that trade. There's no defense on that team. They were running Jeff Green. They were running Jeff Green at the 5 last night. Jeff Green, I think, is like on his best day 6'5", 6'6". Like, dude, like, who's gonna defend the rim? Who's gonna get rebounds? Like, they don't have any depth. I think on their team they only have like 8 or 9 guys. They don't have that many players to kind of.
Yeah.
They don't have a lot of reserves to kind of go to, and their tallest guy I think is KD or like DeAndre Jordan.
Steve Nash like looking at the edge of his bench like this. Yo, you want to play?
But look, we have seen this type of play before. Houston ran this type of team just a few years ago. I think PJ Tucker was running the 5. I'm just like, I just don't see
the assistant coach. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, look, like, what that happened last night against the second worst offense in the league. Cleveland does not have that good of an offense. And if Colin Sexton can go out, drop 42, drop 20 consecutive points for Cleveland to end the game, almost kind of literally like reminded me of like LeBron against Detroit in the Eastern Conference Finals. He went on like that type of run. Scored the last 20 points for Cleveland. I mean, 25. And that was with Kyrie guarding him. So, and Colin was making his shots, and they were contested shots. Whether it was over Kyrie or KD, because they even switched KD on him in the second overtime. Didn't matter. It didn't matter. Colin was cooking. I mean, the only thing I'll say about the Nets, as far as their offense goes, is they're going to put up points. They have to consistently put up 120 points a night, because they're going to give up at least 120. Because if you got Cleveland going off and scoring, wait till they actually go up against a team that can actually score. Whether it be like the Clippers, whether it be the 76ers, whether it be the Heat. I'll tell you what, if the Nets go up against the 76ers right now, it wouldn't surprise me if Joel Embiid drops 50 on them. Joel has been cooking this last week or so.
He's like an MVP favorite. I forgot what magazine or what label.
He dropped like 40 and 15 the other day. I mean, my guy in Philly is cooking right now.
Doc Rivers out here showing he a big man coach.
Well, and that's the thing. It's like, we all know that Joel Embiid has had his potential. It's just, you see like moments where he really like lives up to it and then surpasses it. It's just, whether it's like injuries, not being able to stay in shape, maybe a little bit of laziness, he's kind of always been just below his potential. But now with Doc Rivers running the show, now you get to see it. I would love to see that matchup of freaking Joel Embiid down low against the Nets. Joel will cook down there. And that's the thing that the Nets are going to have to really address over these next couple of weeks. Listen, we talked about this previously. I think they need to trade Kyrie. I think they need to get some sort of depth on this team. Because right now, they can't run this team defensively. There's
the Lakers would sweep them or do a best of a gentleman sweep. The Lakers would cook them right now.
I think anybody out of the West would do fairly well against them, just because they can't defend. The Nets are going to put up points. But if they don't figure out these defensive issues sooner rather than later, they're going to linger. And the questions are going to start to arise. It's like, yeah, you got James Harden, but look what you gave up in the process. You gave up pretty much your entire depth on your bench, and you were giving up some starters. So, I mean, look, having a three-headed monster is great. And literally, you have probably 3 of the top 10, top 15 players on the starting 5. The offensive capabilities of that team is just through the roof. But at what expense? You just lost to Cleveland last night, and they scored 140 some points.
And each of the 3 teams they played are under 500 in the No. 2 of the 3, the Magic, the Bucks that they barely beat, and then the Cavs. Like they're scraping wins and scraping games like marginally. This defense is historically bad almost in a 3-game stretch. It's terrible.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if they end up as like the worst defense we've ever seen. But if this is a system that they want to run, they're going to
score 30 a pop.
They're going to, but here's the thing. It really reminds me of what Houston ran a couple years ago. And look where it got them. Got them close. Almost got them to the finals. But nope.
I gotta be honest. I gotta be blunt. The second they hired Mike D'Antoni, I said this wasn't gonna work. That man offensively, for some odd reason, I don't understand how people love his system. Spread it out and keep shooting. Spread it out and keep shooting. Spread it out and keep shooting. Bro, every team you have been on has sucked. Like the Knicks, poop. The Suns had their little run. They could never get over the hump. The Rockets, they would get right and they never could get over the hump. And then you go and change the system to have PJ Tucker at 6'6", run the 5. Bro, I don't know what you're smoking because Golden State is the only team in the entire world that has ever run a center that's smaller than 6'10" and win championships.
Yeah.
He's not going to be Steve Kerr. The system that he run obviously does not work. A record-setting 27 or 28 straight NBA, 28 or 27 straight threes missed in a playoff game, worst in history. And you kept encouraging it. We're gonna find our stride. You heard him in timeouts. We're gonna just keep shooting. We got open looks. We're gonna knock them down. Once they start falling, they'll start falling again and again and again. Bro, stop shooting. That's their problem. They have 3 ISO players with a center that can't shoot free throws and Jeff Green, who's like 34. That is your 5. If Kyrie got an off night, if KD got an off night, if Harden's turning the ball over, or if one wants the ball more than the other, they're screwed. They're screwed. To win games, realistically, Harden and KD are going to have to average 35. Kyrie's going to have to average like 25, 8, and 9. Like, I don't know. It's realistically, you gave up like 120-some points to the Magic. You gave up 123 points to the Bucks. You gave up 140-something to the damn Cleveland Cavaliers. I get it. Kyrie's first game back in, 2-3 weeks. I don't want to hear it. The rest of the team has been there. Brooklyn's got to get it together and or ship this man Kyrie Irving off to another team and get some depth, like you said. Because if this keeps going throughout the entire season and teams start to see, well, KD's going to get his anyway. Well, James Harden's pretty much unguardable.
KD's already averaging 30.
I'm just going to focus on us getting to the rim because they can't guard us. I'm just going to get a switch on KD. I'm going to get a switch on DeAndre Jordan or whoever's guarding down low, and I'm going to attack the basket or I'm going to put up a shot over them. Like, it's common sense basketball. They can't defend. I'm going to find holes. You're going to run the zone. I'm going to poke holes in the zone. Brooklyn offensively has the potential to be historic. Defensively, they have the potential to be just as historic. I don't know.
Yep. Yeah, I'll tell you this. I think with them moving forward, I think here's what's going to be very interesting to me. I think they're going to try to run James at the point. If James can run at the point, because he had like 12 assists last night. James Harden had a triple-double last night. So I wonder if they can find some sort of system where he's running the point, but it's going to be so weird because like Kyrie's usually like the primary ball handler, but it was weird seeing James being the facilitator, getting assists. I mean, I think he had like 12 or 13 assists last night.
But Kyrie's never been a pass-first point guard. That's always his thing. He is a scoring guard. A lot of people get the misconception of you play point guard, that means you get assists. No. Kyrie's always been I'm going to get to the rim.
Because here's the thing. I'm of the mindset that this team does not have enough depth to win a title.
Nope.
They just don't have it. And I think what they're going to try to do is try to experiment with this to see where it could go, but I don't think Kyrie's going to be a part of this. I really don't. If they go this entire year keeping Kyrie on the team, and then they somehow get to the finals this year, that would be fantastic for them. Good on them. I don't know if they're going to win the finals per se, but I just don't see this team getting and winning the finals because I just don't think they have enough depth. And the only player that they're going to move that is going to bring a decent amount of depth back is Kyrie. They're not going to trade James Harden. They just traded for him. I realistically think that this is not sustainable. I just don't think that this is going to work in the long run. It may work in spurts, but I mean, if they continue to lose games to anemic offensive teams like Cleveland or maybe something like Detroit, this team's in trouble. So here's what I'll say. Let this play out for a week or two, maybe even a month. I don't know when the trade deadline is. I don't know when it is.
I don't know either. It's usually before the All-Star game, isn't it?
Let them try some things. Let them see and experiment with some things to try to get some matchups and maybe some looks at different guys running different schemes. But I just don't think for the long term, I don't think it's sustainable. It's just it's
not feasible. It's not realistic.
It's a little bit different than what Houston had. I mean, the system is very similar. The players are different. You got 3 amazing scorers, but you need Hall of Fame type scorers to make this system work. In Houston, they only had maybe 1 or 2 of that with Chris Paul for the 2 years that he was there, and then James Harden. Well, now you got 3. Is that third guy going to make a difference? I don't know. The verdict is still kind of out on that. I'm not going to place my money on that, though. I just don't have a lot of confidence in this team moving forward. That's why I've been of the mindset, trade Kyrie. If Kyrie's available, especially if Kyrie's availability continues to be an issue and lingers throughout the season, they got to move him. Yeah, but you know what? If that's the case, they will get a lot back for him. There's no doubt. But, I mean, Kyrie has been with the Nets for
2 years?
A year. Well, this is his second season with them. So, you know, they may wait this out. They may kind of see how this goes, and then they may address this situation in the offseason. But with this depth, with this roster, like you said, Katie's going to have to average 35. James is going to have to average 30. And Kyrie's going to have to average at least 25. Between those 3 guys, they have to score 100 points. At least 90. They have to score at least 90. And then hope to God that Joe Harris and Jeff Green scored 30 points between the 2 of them, or at least 20. I'm just not going to put my money on that.
It's not realistic.
But they could prove me wrong. They could go out there, they could do what they need to do, and go out and prove me wrong. I just don't have a lot of confidence in it, and it would be a shock to me if they could get this system to work between the 3 of them. I just don't think that it's going to happen. I think it'll be enough to get. I think it'll be enough to maybe get them out of the East, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to win the finals. And honestly, if they can't address these issues defensively, they may not even get out of the East.
Not with Boston playing as good as they've been getting, but I'm not even going to get into that. You know, it's kind of funny how the Lakers and the Celtics are the number 1 seeds in their respective conferences, 2 of the most historic, if not the 2 most historic franchises in history, leading the way again, one with probably arguably the greatest of all time, and then one with an up-and-coming superstar that is Jason Tatum. But if Brooklyn doesn't pick this up, I don't see them beating Boston. No way.
And then you gotta deal with other teams. You gotta deal with Miami. You gotta deal with Milwaukee. Obviously, the records don't indicate how good they are right now, but they will turn it up.
Milwaukee and Miami when time matters the most.